So I just wanted to share an interesting thought that I had primarily while listening to this episode here of the UAP podcast. Now he's speaking to James Fox. He has a new cut of one of his films talking about the Brazilian Varginha case. I think that's how you pronounce it. To be honest with you, I've never really been super familiar with that case. And I've never seen any of his films. I started watching one of them or a couple of them on Amazon, but I never got beyond like just a couple minutes. So I still have to catch up on some of those. But yeah, very intriguing what's going on right now, like super intriguing actually. But it got me thinking. Oftentimes when we delve into apologetics with the Bible, we make a lot of cases, such as, you have 40 different authors with a span of 1,600 years, 3 different languages, or there's like 3 different languages, 3 different continents. All of this, guys, you're probably like, yep, I heard that, yep. I use that, in defending the Bible. And that's great and all. One consistent story. We'll argue to like, it wouldn't make any sense if X number of people were all hallucinating the same thing. Like that wouldn't make any sense. Like, for example, there's 500 witnesses to Jesus's resurrection. We would say something like that, and on it goes. Well, and then also too, like, if you presented all this stuff in a court of law, like, of course these things are true, that it really did happen, etc. So I started thinking about that in lieu of when I hear these UAP stories, because you have basically every one of those things that we use to defend Scripture, you could use literally to validate UAP cases. So you have, stories that span a very long time. There is a through line. They all are similar. I mean, yes, there is a lot of differences too, but that could make sense in the sense that, like, it's not just all one exact same thing, but a lot of similarities. But even if you just go like into a tighter time span, or even like each individual case, like this case with the thing in Brazil in 1996, multiple credible people. And that's another thing too with the Bible. It's like, you have different walks of life, kings and peasants and everything in between. And the same thing here, you have super high intelligence officials saying the same thing as a lowly person. But then in this case, you have like all this hospital staff, a neurosurgeon, and that's kind of the highlight of this case, that a neurosurgeon came forward and is saying some stuff. And there's a big push too with the American government and Congress, and it's very intriguing stuff. But that'll be we'll be seeing that in the news real shortly. But anyway, you have stories that all match up, and you can do some detective work or some great journalism work, and everything matches up. I'm just going to play this small clip. There's like a lot more to it, but I just like what he says right here.
Did the autopsy, the person that studied the tissue samples. How long have you guys all known each other? 40 years, 38 years, 35 years. Do you believe Dr. Italo when he says he had picked? Yes, every single person down the line. Absolutely no question. If he says it happened, it happened. So everybody would have to be making this. It's just in a court of law. If we presented this case, it would be a slam dunk.
Wow. It's just incredible stuff. Moment of contact, new revelations of alien encounters. You guys got to check this out because I guess I'll just straight up ask it this way. Was your life threatened, James? There was a moment in that, and just in the trailer that I saw.
And I'll just stop it there. I didn't listen beyond that yet, so I didn't know what else he's going to say. And there was a lot more before that too. But again, you can see all the similarities to our apologetics, and like the same exact arguments you could use for this stuff. I'm not saying that, and please understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to say that, this is more important than Scripture or anything like that. I'm just talking about where we use the same arguments to validate one thing. Why can't we use the same arguments to validate at least the experiences that people have been having? Now, I'm not saying that the conclusions that some of these people are talking about are necessarily true. You know, I'm not saying like, I don't know if these guys say it in this movie or the guys that experienced this event. Again, I don't know like too much about it myself, but I'm not saying that they think or that they have a conclusion that, oh yeah, they came from some planet, whatever. I'm not saying that the conclusions that people come up with are necessarily true. I'm just talking about the experiences they've had, things that happen, etc. But yeah, like what else can I say? Like even in that short little part I played right there, like that was another thing that we would use in like to validate different stories in scripture and things like that. So I don't know, I just thought it was interesting. I guess partly I'm thinking about this because like I share a lot of stuff on my Facebook, for instance, and again, I talk about this all the time. This stuff should be world news. Like it should be on all the news stations. It should be talked about everywhere. Even if you don't believe the person, it should be talked about. I mean, these are high profile people many times talking about this stuff and saying that it's true. And the implications are insane. And then Christians have a job to do, which is a case I made many times before. But I never, like almost never, ever, ever, ever get anyone to even show that they care. You know, no matter how much I try. Now, like the literally maybe 2 people that have talked to me about this, they never said that this stuff never happened, but they kind of dismiss it like, oh, just focus on Jesus. Or the other person's like, oh, I just don't care. You know, I'm not interested in it whatsoever, whether it's angel, demons, or something else. I just don't care. I don't know how you say that. Like, that's like the craziest thing ever. I know I keep talking about this, but it's like, yeah, if this stuff becomes like so real, you're going to comment. You're going to say something on Facebook. You're not, you know, if these things start flying around all over the place or the technology is revealed, even if it's a prosaic thing, maybe weapons are unleashed that are more larger than nuclear weapons, you're going to care then. How do you not care? It just doesn't make any sense. You're going to care. You know, however this, you know, if the president says something, it's revealed that way, you're going to care. You're going to make a post on Facebook. You're not just going to be like, oh, whatever, who cares? You know, let's say that millions and millions of people die because, you know, we have an unrepentant evil heart as mankind, you know, those of us who aren't saved. And we use this technology, whatever it may be, that's more dangerous than nuclear capabilities, to kill people. And you say they don't care right now. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I think there's more going on to that. But anyway, I'm getting off on a side tangent. But yeah, I just wanted to say though that I keep talking about this and nobody cares. So it's like, do I need to bring out these so-called apologetics to get people to care? I mean, do people just not read my post anyway? I don't know. Like, it's we live in such crazy, interesting times. But how do we not look at this and be intrigued by it or see it as a ministry, you know, something that we need to tackle, like how you might tackle Mormonism or Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. I just don't get it. So tell me your thoughts down below. Check out this podcast. He does a lot of great interviews. I think he's going to be interviewing Tim Burchett pretty soon. He did talk about that. I don't know if he's going to say that, maybe because he likes to give updates at the end of episodes. Maybe he says at the end of this one that, oh, things just kind of fell apart because he was going to do it this month, but things kind of fell apart that way. So he said maybe next month. He said that a couple episodes ago. I'm going to try to get in contact with him because I have some questions I would love for him to ask Tim Burchett if he gets on there. So, and then by that time, like this week, he's supposed to have an interview with Marco Rubio, Tim Burchett. So he's going to be getting together with him for a little bit. And this is one of the topics he wanted to bring up. Again, people in high level government talking about this stuff as if it's true because, you know, something's going on out there. Why don't we care? Why are we not talking as Christians? I don't know. It's such a crazy thing. But do I need to bring up these apologetics to other Christians? You know, like, what do I need to do to get the attention of my fellow believers about this topic? I don't know. Again, I don't care if you believe that, you know, what you believe, what the phenomenon is, just that this is a huge deal. It has serious implications. Even if it's prosaic, it should grab your attention. You know, we have a duty to do, I believe, because the world's going to come along and they're going to put their own worldview spin on this topic, as they already are, and it's not leading down a good path. We as Christians are supposed to be on the front lines of all things spiritual. And so I don't know why we're not taking this seriously. But anyway, tell me what you guys think down below.